Don't respond. Don't respond. You ain't even peeped when the intro came on with the Teddy Pendergrass. That was that black fire. Don't do it. Don't go write a 8-minute verse that, I know, nigga, Yachty, I know you want to get that money. You ain't wrong, nigga. Keep buying them big houses. But I'm going to tell you this like a real nigga. Ain't no more BBLs. Ain't no more ass fillers. Ain't no more cheek fillers.
The hype was unreal. Fans were buzzing for what felt like the clash of the century, a lyrical war between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. At first, things seemed smooth between these two rap giants, even collaborating on tracks that had people convinced their bond was untouchable. But that so-called friendly competition, it didn't stay friendly for long. It slowly morphed into a full-blown war of egos and bars, and the streets haven't stopped talking since. Everything flipped on March 22nd when Kendrick lit the fuse with his verse on Future and Metro Boomin's album, We Don't Trust You. He wasn't holding back, straight up calling out Drake and J. Cole with jaw-dropping shots like, yeah, get up with me. F sneak dissing, first-person shooter. I hope they came with 3 switches. And if that wasn't enough, he followed up with a bold declaration. Think I won't drop the location? I still got PTSD. F the big 3, it's just Big Me though. That verse shook the entire industry. Drake didn't rush to clap back with a diss track, at least not yet, but he couldn't resist throwing shade from the stage during his March 24th concert in Sunrise, Florida, letting Kendrick know he wasn't staying quiet forever. The tension was thick, and everyone knew something major was brewing. But to really understand how we got here, we gotta rewind. Back in 2011, Drake was proving himself to the world, shaking off the soft label and stepping up as a powerhouse in hip-hop. With his debut album, Thank Me Later, he went from being the divisive newcomer to becoming a full-on superstar. He dominated charts, silenced doubters, and had the world asking, how much higher could he climb? Take Care was Drake's massive yes to every single doubter. He doubled down on the atmospheric, emotional vibe that made So Far Gone legendary. And this time, he brought some serious firepower with him. One of the names he introduced to a wider audience? None other than a hungry new voice from the West Coast, Kendrick Lamar. Fresh off the buzz of Section 80, Kendrick was already getting whispers as the next great hope of Cali rap, and Drake handed him the mic on the haunting Buried Alive interlude. Kendrick didn't waste the moment, dropping lines like, blame it on Mr. Ovo, the reason why I'm breathing all the vanity I know. His confidence? Sky high. You could tell Kendrick felt untouchable after getting that spotlight from Drizzy. And Drake? He kept his eye on the rising star.
People ask me how I'm feeling. I'm gonna let you know how I'm feeling. And listen, the way I'm feeling is the same way I want you to walk out of here feeling tonight about yourself. Because you know how I'm feeling? I got my head up high, my back straight. I'm 10 toes down in Florida, anywhere else I go, and I know that no matter what, it's not a on this earth that can ever me in my life. And that's how I want you to walk out of here tonight.
Years later, on his 2016 track 4 PM in Calabasas, Drake admitted people had suggested he take an R&B act on tour. But instead, he chose Kendrick and A$AP Rocky. That decision helped shine an even brighter light on K-Dot before the world fully realized what kind of monster he was about to become. Their chemistry showed again when Kendrick dropped his debut album and teamed up with Drake on Poetic Justice. That single cracked the Billboard Hot 100, peaking at number 26, and fans thought this duo was about to dominate together for years. But, plot twist, that track ended up being their last collaboration ever. Because once Kendrick's major label debut, Good Kid, MAAD City, exploded, his confidence reached another level. Maybe too high for Drake's comfort. Suddenly, Kendrick wasn't just playing nice, he was gunning for everyone. On Big Sean's now infamous Track Control, Kendrick went nuclear, naming names and shaking the entire rap game. He called out Drake, J. Cole, Meek Mill, Big KRIT, Whale, Pusha T, A$AP Rocky, Tyler the Creator, Mac Miller, Big Sean, and Jay Electronica, straight up saying, I got love for you all, but I'm trying to murder you guys. That verse flipped the industry upside down, and from that moment on, Drake and Kendrick weren't just collaborators, they were rivals. Kendrick wasn't holding back when he spit. trying to make sure your core fans never heard of you guys. They don't want to hear not one more noun or verb from you guys. That shot had people buzzing, but Drake, he played it cool, at least on the surface. When he graced the cover of Billboard that same month, he brushed it off saying, "I didn't really have anything to say about it. It just sounded like an ambitious thought to me." That's all it was. I know good and well that Kendrick isn't murdering me at all in any platform. So when that day comes, we can talk about it again. Confidence or cockiness? Fans couldn't decide, but Kendrick wasn't letting it slide. At the 2013 BET Hip Hop Awards, he and his TDE squad stormed the stage over Mobb Deep's legendary Shook One's beat. The moment was electric. Kendrick tossed more subliminal shots, and the crowd knew he was still gunning for Drake. That performance had the culture screaming that a storm was brewing. Meanwhile, Drake sharpened his pen for the language and explained why he couldn't just sit back and play nice. According to him, the whole thing blew up because Kendrick's Control verse dropped right when Drake was releasing his album, and suddenly that was all anyone wanted to talk about. So what was I supposed to do? Pretend we're all good, Drake explained. Still, he made sure to keep it respectful, adding, "Just to be clear, I've never said he's a bad guy or that I don't like him. I actually think Kendrick is a freaking genius." The respect was there, but so was the tension, and both sides knew it was only getting hotter from here. Drake later admitted, "I had to stand my ground, and then I realized I was being baited, and I wasn't about to take the bait. It's like Michael Jordan doesn't need to play street ball to prove he's got game. No disrespect, but I'm not about to let this shake me. I feel great, and really, there's no issue here." That was Drake's way of saying he wasn't going to let Kendrick drag him into a lyrical street fight on Kendrick's terms. But behind the calm words, the shots kept flying.
"I hate y'all. I do anything to replace y'all. Shout out to Face Mob, a ghetto boy till I'm unemployed with a day job and kicking boxes. I kick ass and then kick knowledge. I'm way more polished than 99% of the scholars you thought had graduated."
Kendrick turned the heat all the way up in King Kunta, calling out Drake's ghostwriting whispers with the ruthless line, "I can dig rapping, but a rapper with a ghostwriter, what the F happened?" That bar still echoes to this day, and Drake wasn't about to take it lying down. On 100 with the Game, he fired back spitting, "I would have all of your fans if I didn't go pop and I stayed on some conscious S." The back and forth tension was boiling, and the lines were getting sharper every round. Kendrick, though, wasn't easing up. On Dr. Dre's Compton album, he doubled down, launching more darts on Dark Side Gone and Deep Water. Those bars cut deep, especially when he rapped, "They liable to bury him. They nominated 6 to carry him. They worry him to death, but he's no vegetarian. The beef is on his breath, inheriting the drama better than a great white. This is life in my aquarium, brutal." Kendrick was practically circling Drake like a shark smelling blood. So what lit the match for their most recent clash? Ironically, it started with a call for unity. Last October, Drake dropped his 8th studio album For All the Dogs, and on it was a collab with J. Cole titled First Person Shooter. Cole tossed out a line that was meant to crown peace but stirred up chaos instead, saying he, Drake, and Kendrick were the big 3 of modern hip-hop. What should have been a moment of solidarity ended up being the spark that reignited the fire. On First Person Shooter, J. Cole rapped, "Love when they argue the hardest MC, is it K-Dot, is it Aubrey, or me? We the big 3, like we started a league. That bar was supposed to be a celebration of unity, but it lit a fuse." The track rocketed straight to #1 on the US singles chart, giving Drake his 13th #1 hit and J. Cole his very first. That achievement tied Drake with none other than Michael Jackson for the most #1 singles by a male solo artist, a historic moment. But then Taylor Swift's Cruel Summer knocked them off the top spot just a week later, and while the charts moved on, Kendrick was sitting back watching and stewing. He wasn't feeling the big 3 talk one bit, and the silence was just him loading up ammo. Fast forward to March 2024, Future and Metro Boomin dropped their album We Don't Trust You, and tucked inside was a track that detonated the culture. Like that, featuring a sneaky, uncredited verse from Kendrick Lamar. The second people heard it, social media went into meltdown. Kendrick came out swinging, demolishing Cole's claim with the savage line, "No big 3, it's just big me." That wasn't just a response, it was a coronation. He brushed off Drake and Cole's best verses as nothing more than a light pack, then took the audacity further by positioning himself as the Prince to Drake's Michael Jackson. The energy of that verse was volcanic, explosive lines everywhere. But the peak came when Kendrick vowed to bury all of Drake and J. Cole's dogs in the pet cemetery. a twisted, clever flip on Stephen King's horror novel, and a ruthless dig at Drake's For All the Dogs album. Fans couldn't believe it. This wasn't just a shot, it was a massacre. And the placement? That's where the shade got even deeper. Metro Boomin, who produced most of Drake's 2015 collab project, What a Time to Be Alive, was the mastermind behind this track. The sequel to that project never happened, and rumors say the fallout created serious tension between Metro and Drake. So for Kendrick's bombshell verse to land right here, that was no accident, it was personal. By 2022, the tension between Drake and Metro Boomin was no longer a whisper, it was loud. Metro cut Drake from a track, then hit him with the ultimate shade, the unfollow on Instagram. In the industry, that move speaks volumes. But did Drake back down? Not a chance. At a Florida concert, he stepped on stage and made sure the world knew he wasn't folding. He told the crowd people keep asking how he's feeling, and he shouted with pride that his head was held high, he was standing tall, and according to him, there's nobody on this planet who could take him down. The crowd erupted. Drake wasn't bowing to anybody. But if you thought that was the end, you don't know this story. Just 2 weeks later, J. Cole stirred the pot with his own response on 7 Minute Drill, a track from his surprise album, Might Delete Later. And the shots? They were icy. Cole rapped, "I got a phone call. They say that somebody dissing you want some attention. It come with extensions. He's still doing shows, but fell off like The Simpsons." That wasn't all. He went for Kendrick's discography, praising Good Kid, MAAD City as a classic, but slamming Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers as tragic. The knife twisted deeper when Cole added, "Your third was massive, and that was your prime. I was trailing right behind, and I just now hit mine. Push come to shove on this mic, I will humble him." Fans were stunned. Cole had finally joined the battlefield, but just when people thought the war had a new soldier, he pulled a shocking pivot. At the Dreamville Festival in North Carolina, Cole got on stage and admitted that 7 Minute Drill was a mistake. He straight up apologized, saying he regretted it and praising Kendrick as one of the greatest. The backpedal had people asking, was this genuine respect or just Cole dodging smoke he wasn't ready for?
So I'm so proud of that project, except for one part. It's one part of that shit that make me feel like, man, that's the lamest shit I ever did in my fucking life, right? And I know this is not what a lot of people want to hear. I know I can hear my niggas up there right now like, nah, don't do that. But I got to keep it 100 with y'all, right? I damn near had a relapse, right? Because y'all heard some shit that happened 3 weeks ago, however long it was. Y'all heard that bazooka that was dropped on the motherfucking game, right? So all of this time of me moving on my own accord, for the first time I was tested. Why am I tested? Because I got the world and I got my niggas like, what you gonna do, Cole? My niggas like, boy, I must have had 1,000 missed calls. Oh my fucking God. Text flooded. I couldn't even answer my shit. Nigga, it's wartime. Boom, 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 right? Niggas want to see blood. And I was conflicted because one, I know my heart, you know what I mean? And like, I know how I feel about my peers, these two niggas that I just been blessed to even stand beside in this game, let alone chase their greatness, right? So I felt conflicted because I'm like, bro, I know I don't really feel no way, but the world want to see blood. I don't know if y'all can feel that, but the world want to see blood. So I say all of that to say, in my spirit of trying to like get this music out, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I moved in a way that I feel spiritually feel bad on me. Like I try to like jab my nigga back and I try to keep it friendly. But at the end of the day, when I listen to it and when it comes out and I see the talk, that shit don't sit right with my spirit. That shit make me feel, that shit disrupts my fucking peace.
Cole stood in front of the Dreamville Festival crowd, almost pleading for forgiveness. He promised to yank 7 Minute Drill off all streaming platforms and said he'd accept whatever consequences came if Kendrick decided to clap back. The moment was heavy. He even echoed the words from his 2013 track Crunch Time, confessing, "Only thing worse than death is a regret-filled coffin." Cole wanted no smoke and fans knew it. But if J. Cole was trying to squash things, Drake was doing the exact opposite. Like a true rap instigator, he wasn't ready to let the fire die down. On April 13th, Drake dropped Push Ups, Drop and Give Me 50, and he came in swinging. He mocked Kendrick's height, calling him a midget and reminding everyone that K-Dot is only 5 feet 4 inches. Then he doubled down, painting Kendrick as a record label puppet who has to lean on pop collabs just to stay relevant. Drake spit bars dripping with shade like, Maroon 5 need a verse, you better make it witty, then we need a verse for the Swifties. He wasn't just going after Kendrick's credibility, he was clowning him as a sellout. The disrespect went further when Drake outright questioned Kendrick's status in the rap hierarchy, sneering, Pipsqueak pipe down, you ain't in no big three, Ezie got you wiped down, Travis got you wiped down, Savage got you wiped down. And just to stir the pot even more, he dragged in names like Future, The Weeknd, and Rick Ross. And here's the wild part. Someone actually did clap back immediately, but it wasn't Kendrick. It was Rick Ross. Right after Push-Ups dropped, Rosie came out with his own diss record, Champagne Moments. On it, he went straight for the jugular, accusing Drake of secretly getting plastic surgery. The internet went crazy. This wasn't just a rap beef anymore, it was turning into an all-out circus. Rick Ross's diss went straight for the jugular, accusing Drake of a nose job, fake abs, and even a Brazilian butt lift. The rumors got so wild that even Drake's own mom texted him, asking if it was true. Drake tried to play it off by posting their convo on Instagram, but at that point, the feud was already looking more like messy gossip than real rap beef. And then, boom! Kanye West jumped into the chaos on April 21st, and he didn't just throw shade, he went full nuclear. Siding with Kendrick, Ye dropped a remix of Like That, where he mocked Drake's major label deal, claiming Drake basically got played. But Kanye didn't stop there. He clowned both Drake and J. Cole's lyrical skills with the Cole line, y'all so out of sight, out of mind, I can't even think of a Drake line. That was Kanye co-signing Kendrick and pouring gasoline on an already burning fire. Drake, though, wasn't going quiet. Determined to bait Kendrick into swinging back, he fired off another diss, Tailor-Made Freestyle. This one got extra messy. Drake accused Kendrick of ducking release dates, too scared to drop music the same week Taylor Swift dropped the Tortured Poets department. To top it off, Drake used AI to mimic 2 of Kendrick's idols, Tupac Shakur and Snoop Dogg. That move backfired fast. Tupac's estate immediately called foul, and Drake was forced to pull the track from his socials. It was one of the most controversial stunts of his career. Then came Kendrick's answer, and it was devastating. At the end of April, he unloaded Euphoria, a 6-minute verbal sledgehammer that flipped the tables completely. The title nodded to Euphoria, the HBO show Drake co-produces, but the bars were pure venom. Kendrick labeled Drake as predictable, a manipulator, and a flat-out liar. He even doubled down on Rick Ross's jab about the fake abs and went after something even deeper, Drake's role as a father. Kendrick's precision cuts weren't just lyrical, they were personal, and fans knew the beef had officially crossed into no-return territory. Kendrick didn't sugarcoat it. He flat out admitted his feelings. Let me say, I'm the biggest hater. I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress. It was raw, brutal honesty, with even a nod to the late DMX, who once spoke about hate in the same unfiltered way. Drake's comeback, instead of a verse, he tried trolling. He posted a screenshot from 10 Things I Hate About You, comparing Kendrick's fiery rant to teenage poetry from a high school rom-com. It was petty, but it showed Drake was feeling the sting. But Euphoria wasn't just a diss track, it was an all-out demolition job. Kendrick tore Drake down layer by layer, stacking insult after insult. He mocked Drake's Canadian roots, with a line suggesting even Tupac would be rolling in his grave. He hit on the rumors of plastic surgery, jabbed at Drake's messy dating history, and didn't hold back on questioning his parenting. Every bar felt like a precision strike. And the title, that was its own dagger. Naming the track Euphoria was a sly shot at Drake's role as executive producer on HBO's controversial show of the same name, a series often criticized for its portrayal of young girls. Kendrick turned the title into a weapon, making it sting on multiple levels. The fallout was massive. Critics and journalists praised the track as a masterclass in lyrical warfare. They noted that while Drake had fired off push-ups and tailor-made freestyle quickly, they just didn't have the same cultural impact. Kendrick, even though he took his time to respond, came back with something nuclear. Like That and Euphoria instantly felt like generational moments in hip-hop. Drake's efforts, by comparison, looked like light jabs that couldn't land.
Hey, white boy, white boy. Crody, Crody, Crody. Do they even have Wi-Fi on that cargo plane? He may not even heard this yet, but look, white boy, I know we not friends, but Let me give you this advice, because you ain't got nobody around you. Or you ain't got no real niggas around you. Let me just put it like that. Ain't no real niggas. Stop. Don't respond. Don't respond. You ain't even peeped when the intro came on with the Teddy Pendergrass. That was that black vibe. Don't do it. Don't go write a 8-minute verse that, I know, nigga, Yachty, I know you want to get that money. You ain't wrong, nigga. Keep buying them big houses. But I'm going to tell you this like a real nigga. Ain't no more BBLs. Ain't no more ass fillers. Ain't no more cheek fillers.
Kendrick's euphoria was worth every second of the wait. Industry insiders even crowned him hip-hop's new boogeyman, the one artist no rapper wants smoke with. And honestly, they had a point. For over 6 minutes, Kendrick didn't rely on flashy hooks or heavy production. It was nothing but pure bars, uncut and unapologetic. This is what a real rap battle is supposed to look like. No gimmicks, no shortcuts, just skill, wit, wordplay, and flow. Sure, some critics admitted the track wasn't the most polished production-wise, and maybe it didn't have one single knockout punch, but that wasn't the point. Kendrick's fiery humor, venom-soaked delivery, and raw energy made it unforgettable. He sounded like he'd been sitting on years of pent-up frustration, waiting for the perfect moment to let it all out. And when he claimed, "I'm the biggest hater," fans ate it up. They loved that he wasn't even pretending to play nice. For Drake, though, the comparisons were brutal. Hip-hop heads couldn't help but remember Pusha T's 2018 nuke, The Story of Adidon, a diss so cold it exposed Drake's secret son to the world, complete with that infamous blackface photo. That track set the bar sky high for any Drake diss, and many wondered if Kendrick could reach that level. But Kendrick didn't need to reveal hidden dirt. Euphoria wasn't about secrets, it was about raw contempt. What really stood out was the depth of Kendrick's dislike. This wasn't just friendly competition, this was personal. Critics pointed out how much fans resonated with that intensity. Kendrick himself framed it best, spitting, "This ain't about critics, not about gimmicks, not who the greatest. It's always been about love and hate. Now let me say I'm the biggest hater," and with that, the battle didn't just feel like rap, it felt like war. Rick Ross didn't need to make a video for his Drake diss Champagne moments, but Rose being Rose, he did it anyway. And of course, he used it as a prime chance to flex his empire. Just last week, Ross dropped the visuals, and instead of going flashy, he kept it raw and straightforward. The setup? Him chilling on a stool in front of a classic Chevy Bel Air, surrounded by the liquor brands he reps. Luke Belaire bottles glistened in the frame, Bumbu Rum got its shine, and tucked in the background was even a poster hyping his upcoming Rick Ross car show. It was less music video, more business move, with a heavy dose of smoke for Drake. Throughout the video, Ross stayed cool, puffing smoke and spitting bars while hammering Drake with insults. He repeatedly called Drake white boy and threw more shade about the rumored nose job, making sure the camera zoomed in on him every time he emphasized the punchlines. It was equal parts diss and product placement, Rose's version of killing two birds with one stone. The timing was no accident either. The video dropped just a week after Drake's push-ups, where Drake mostly targeted Kendrick Lamar and Metro Boomin, but couldn't resist tossing a couple of jabs at Ross for inserting himself into the beef. Drake sneered, "Can't believe he's jumping in." And every song that made it on the chart he got from D Drizzy. "Spend that little check you got and stay out of my business." That line was meant to dismiss Ross completely, but Rose wasn't having it. Instead of sulking, Ross turned Drake's insults into content. In one hilarious moment, he clapped back at Drake's alleged comment about him using weight loss drug Mounjaro. Ross proudly lifted up his belly on camera, gave it a squeeze, and laughed it off like only the boss could. It was equal parts trolling and confidence, showing he wasn't fazed at all. As the smoke from Kendrick and Drake's feud kept filling the air, Ross saw an opening and slid in with his own style. He wasn't trying to body Drake with lyrical complexity. He was mixing humor, swagger, and business all at once. Champagne moments turned into a sideshow of its own, proving Rose knew exactly how to keep his name in the middle of hip-hop's messiest drama. Rick Ross turned his diss into more than just a track. He made it a whole billboard for his empire, blending business with beef. What we saw here is how far rap battles have evolved. They're no longer just lyrical duels, they're full-blown storylines packed with branding, showmanship, and calculated moves. While Kendrick came with venom and precision, Ross flipped it into humor and hustle, mocking Drake while pouring shots of his own liquor brands. It was a reminder that in hip-hop, nothing is ever just one thing. A beef isn't only about settling scores, it can be about selling bottles, hyping shows, or flexing power in the culture. This chapter proved that conflict in rap is bigger than music. It's strategy, it's business, and it's entertainment rolled into one. And as long as artists like Kendrick, Drake, and Ross keep turning their rivalries into content, the rap game will always be unpredictable, messy, and wildly entertaining. So what do you think? Did Ross bring something fresh to the battlefield, or was it just a side hustle disguised as smoke? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. I'll see you on the next one.